Hi everyone, it's Lynn from DevineCentral. Today I want to share with you a trick I devised for giving tarot readings without a deck. Now, most professional tarot readers I know wouldn't be caught dead without a deck on their person, but me, not so much. I like to carry a small purse for my everyday travels, and frankly, I don't like beating up my decks or their boxes by rummaging through my purse all the time. So I typically don't carry them. But that puts me behind the eight ball when I'm in social settings like, lunch out with friends, and somebody says, "Oh, gee, I wish you could pull a couple of cards on something." And honestly, I can. I just do it mentally. So what I found out was doing this all the time ends up being a really good practice for aspiring tarotists who really need to ingrain and cement those pictures and those images of the tarot card in their brains. So now I've been using it in my practice sessions, which you can find in my Etsy shop, see down below. Okay, so let me kind of explain how this works, and then I'm going to give you some examples, but I'm also going to modify those examples to show you all the different ways that you can use this. So we know that the major arcana has 22 cards, 0 through 21. We also know that we have 4 elemental suits, all of which have 14 cards, 11 and 14 being the court cards, right? Okay, so all the cards are encompassed in that 0 through 21 number. Okay, so let's say that I'm out to lunch with a friend and she says to me, "Gee, I have a contractor coming next week and I'm really nervous. I hope he's good. Could you pull a couple of cards on that?" And I'd say, "Sure. Give me 3 numbers between 0 and 21. Write them on your napkin and hand it over." And so let's say she picks 3, 4, and 8. Now, I didn't have anybody in here to pick numbers at random for me, so I wrote them on paper, cut them up, put them in a coffee cup, and I just drew them at random. So I got 3, 4, and 8 for this question. I might say, he's got a flair for the creative. And in fact, I'll bet he's good at anything he does. So whatever you give him, I think he can see it visually in his head and then get it down on paper and then create whatever it is that you want and do it in a way that you want. However, I see most creatives as right-brain people who are really good at creating things but not good at time management. So you're going to have to come up with a strategy on how you're going to keep him on task. And if I may suggest, you better come up with a softer approach that will not alienate him or dampen his creative spirit. Okay, so let's try another one, but let's modify this one a bit. Someone might say, "Oh, my coworker and I were vying for the same promotion at work, and neither one of us got it, but she really threw me under the bus, and, I feel so betrayed. Now what?" So, why don't you pull 3 numbers between 0 and 21, write them down on your napkin, hand it over. So this time, let's say she picks 14, 15, and 21. If you pause this video for a moment and think to yourself, what conjures up in your mind when you think of those numbers? For me, I didn't like the order. I saw it in my head as 15, 14, and 21. So I might say to her, "Yeah, I can see how this would be a conflict with her. I mean, it's hard working with a toxic environment. So you just need to remember that you are not obligated to be her friend, but you still need to find a way to work with her for the sake of the job. So you better find some happy medium that the two of you can agree to in order that neither one of you get fired." If she doesn't show any signs of remorse or doesn't apologize, it's probably because she didn't understand what she did wrong. Now, people like that, they tend to repeat their mistakes over and over and over until they finally get it right and learn the lesson. So you might want to be civil to her, but keep your distance because she'll probably do it again. Okay, so let's do one more major. And this time we're going to do a 1 card and we're going to throw in some timing. A friend might be discussing her new boyfriend and ask you, "Is this relationship good for me?" I would say to her, "Give me a number between 0 and 21. And let's say she picks a 6. Well, that would be the lovers, right? I could say, ooh, this is absolutely a possibility, but only if you're willing to commit to it. Now, let's say that instead of picking a 6, she picks 16. That's the Tower, right? I might say something's off here. I get the sense that he hasn't been completely honest with you, and it's going to come to light probably in the middle of April. So how did I get there? Take a look. Let's say that I have a friend who's really upset, and she tells me, oh gosh, my 14-year-old son came to me wanting this huge chunk of money for a canoe trip with a bunch of his buddies and their parents. And well, you know, we've been so tight lately, and we finally just got back to even. And I dumped all over him and lectured him about money. I feel like my action was inappropriate. Could you pull a card for me? I'd say, sure. Give me a number between 0 and 21, and let's say she picks 9. Okay? You'll have to do some soul searching on that one. As adults, we tend to be overly focused on money and material items and our safety net, and we forget to have fun. Look ahead at the situation. See if you can shine some light on the possibility of sending him on this trip. I mean, would being tight for just a little bit longer be worth the memories that he would gain from such a trip? We want them to have a good childhood, right? How can we modify this even more? By incorporating the minors. Just because somebody pulls a 2 doesn't mean it has to be the high priestess. I mean, it could be justice. In my world, that's an 11, so 1 plus 1 is 2, right? It could be any one of the 2s in the 4 elemental suits. And it could also be any of the pages, because technically pages are number 11 in our suit of 1 to 14, and 1 plus 1 again is 2. Listen to the next scenario and then pause the video for just a minute and see what conjures up in your third eye. This is where your intuition comes in. So if you are so inclined to believe in spirit as I do, then this is where you have to trust in the message that you see moving across your forehead. All right, so here goes. Let's say I was to say to you, I wish I knew what was wrong with my sister. She's been so quiet and standoffish lately. It's not like her. I'm wondering what's going on. Let's say I pick 3 cards, 2, 7, and 13. So pause the video and what's the first thing you think of? Personally, I saw the 2 of Pentacles, the 7 of Swords, and the Death card. So I may have said to myself, ooh, she's grappling with something. Either it's financial or possibly it's something to do with the house, or maybe both. She's having a really hard time, keeping all of her balls up in the air. And frankly, I don't think she can do it much longer. So whatever she has going on, I don't know if she's ashamed. I don't know if she is embarrassed or she just wants to keep it private, but she's trying really hard to fly under the radar and get through this without anybody knowing. But whatever's going on, it's out of her control, and the situation might right itself soon enough. And you know what? She'll probably come out better at the end. But really, the only thing you can do at this point is stand aside and let her play it out, and then be there for her when she needs to get life back to normal. So my critics might say that I'm interjecting too much of my ego into these scenarios, or into these narratives anyway. And I would say to them and to you, watch this next video, and then you determine whether I am or not. Okay, so if you're having trouble coming up with practice questions, I've got 600 of them for you in my Etsy shop. Go take a look, and I'll talk to you later.